It's been a while. I haven't busted out the DSLR for a video in a hot minute, but today I am packing up some snakes to ship, some Alterna. This is actually a video I've wanted to do for a really long time now. Just how I ship, my thoughts on shipping, sort of what to look out for, whatever. So I'm going to go get these snakes. I'm going to come back here and I'll show you how I pack them up and get them ready to ship them out. Stay tuned. Alright, so what you'll need for shipping is obviously a shipping box. There's a handful of retailers you can buy these from. I get mine from Superior Shipping Supplies. They seem to have the best prices from what I've found. This is a 12 by 9 by 6 box, which is a size I use pretty regularly if I'm shipping multiple animals that are, bigger than neonates. The other size I use often is a 7 by 7 by 7, and that's usually for hatchlings or smaller animals. Like I said, these are the two sizes I really use the most. I don't really ship any big animals that require anything larger than a 12 by 9 by 6. So we have our box. You'll need a Sharpie. If you're shipping multiple animals, you'll need a Sharpie. Zip ties, pillowcase, or a deli cup if you're shipping something smaller. Packing tape. These are my shipping labels. So you'll need those, more on that in a second, and then you'll need your snake, which I'm shipping out a handful of Alterna right today. So first things first, you'll need to go and print your label after you've booked the shipment. I use Reptiles Express. Awesome guys, best prices around that I can find. And then if you go on their website and when you book the shipment, it'll have these little boxes when you're booking the shipment that basically have your hub, the intermediate hub, like the in-between where they stop to get put on the plane for the next ride, and then their destination hub. So it gives you the temperatures, the highs and lows, and the weather patterns on their website, which is nice, and then it prints out for the hub that it's going to in between destinations, which I really like. And then they also give you these to cut and put on the box instead of having to print out your own separately or buy stickers. You can just get these and you don't have to worry about that. So I like that a lot. That's very nice. When you're printing labels, I definitely recommend printing 2 copies of that, mostly because I include one inside the box in case anything happens to that outside label. You have a spare for FedEx to use if they absolutely have to. It's just something extra to do. It's cheap, it's easy. So next thing is going to be scissors. And then your choice of packing material. Sometimes you need to fill up the box a little bit. I actually have another trick for that I'll show in a second. Alright, so first things first, we're going to pack up the snake. So I have a pillowcase here. And so the important thing to remember with pillowcases, this one's a little big, but it'll do the job. I flip them inside out. And the reason I do that is you have the inside seam and stuff here. It has been the case in previous shipments, not with mine, but with other people. Snakes get tangled up in this extra stuff, and it was not a good outcome for those people that happened to. So now, just as an extra precaution, just flip it inside out, and then you don't have to worry about that aspect of it. So I have this gorgeous Alterna going to my buddy David, and he's getting a nice pair of these. So, and actually, you know what? I will go ahead and trim this bag because it is a little big. Usually I'll just kind of grab it by the half there, take some scissors or something, and just cut right through it. Save this, because there's something else you can do with that I'll show in a second. Grab this girl, put her in the bag, and then you want to make sure, like, hold it up to the light a little bit, make sure the head and the tail are clear from where you tie it, because you don't want the snake to obviously be in any part of the knot here. So you tie it, and then I go an extra step as well, just in case, with the zip ties, and I'll zip tie just under the knot, because you just never know. Make sure that's real tight, and then I'll just take my scissors, clip off the excess, And then there's a snake. And so then I'll take the Sharpie. I'll find a kind of an obvious spot on the bag. This one is female, so I'll go ahead and just put the female symbol on it. Doesn't have to be perfect. People can see it and they get the idea. You know, obviously that's a girl. So that's one. Set her right there. Move this. The other one that's going, and I get my pillowcases just at Walmart. You can get like the really cheap low thread count. There's like a pack of 2. I think it's anywhere between $4 and $6. So I just cut them in half, make life easier. Once again, we're flipping it inside out. This guy's really pretty. This guy's gorgeous. Come on, buddy. Absolute stunner of an Alterna. You guys have seen my video on these before. They're amazing snakes. Now we get to sort of the nitty gritty. And you could even go as far as double bag them if you felt you needed to, instead of the single deal. So this is just an empty box. When you order boxes from any of the shipping companies, they come with your pieces of styrofoam, bottom piece, top piece, side pieces. And so what I do is I take this extra pillowcase and stuff it in there. But first what I'll do is I'll actually put some bubble wrap in there, which a lot of people find kind of odd, but actually I think bubble wrap's awesome for this kind of stuff. It's a nice cushion. And before we actually pack this thing out, it is also a good idea to put a hole or 2 into the side. And you can see me just using a pin. Just anything to give it a little bit of ventilation. You don't want a ton. I usually do no more than like 2 holes, just 1 on each side, or maybe if I feel it's really necessary, 1 on each end or each side of the box. This is just going to be on the long sides. So that's just a little bit of ventilation. I have my piece of bubble wrap. Let's see, sorry. I have my piece of bubble wrap. Both snakes are clear as far as their head and their tail. Then I'll take this extra pillow casing. Maybe I'll pat it a little bit. This guy, of course, is like, let me out. I'm sure they can smell each other. And so then what I'll do again, another piece of bubble wrap just on top. They can still breathe. And basically you want to make sure that they're not moving in that box as much as possible. You want to make sure if this box gets flipped, which it very likely will, no matter how many times the box says perishable, this side facing up, things happen. You want to have it packed so that there's really not a lot of empty space between the top and the bottom. So just kind of test it. If you feel like you need some more, throw some more in. It's not going to hurt anything. The snakes will feel secure. You don't have to worry about smashing them or squishing them or anything like that. You want it to be solid. You want it to have structural integrity. So then, once I have them in the box, I take my extra shipping label, I just fold it up, throw it in here, and then I usually, what do I do with them? Personally, I throw in at least 1 business card, and then because these are homies that are getting these Alterna, I'm throwing in a Herpetoculture magazine decal, courtesy of Billy Hunt, and we'll fold it up. Tape it up. And as far as using like hot or cold packs, you really want to pay attention to your temperatures, which I'll get into that a little bit more here in a minute as well. Some people just cut them. I prefer to just fold them, even though I can never fold it straight. I really need to invest in a label printer. So you'll lay it on there, and then you just cover the whole label with packing tape. You don't want any water or anything getting in there and ruining the ink, and then FedEx has to, you know, figure out or either print another label for you and put it on your box, or, you know, open the box to figure out if there's a spare in there. So I just keep the spare in there because it's handy. You know, it's just an extra sheet of paper. It's just a little bit of ink. It doesn't hurt. So the label's on there completely. It's nice and closed up. Then we'll take these, cut them out. Then they also provide, so you get the weather patterns, which you don't have to include. I usually don't. But you do have to include the contents label for the box. So this just tells FedEx what's inside, how many, and that's as easy as just one single piece of tape on top. Same with these. I'll put them on each side of the box, maybe on the top. So we'll put one on top. I can get the tape straight. Oh my God. And I'll put one on each side of the long sides. And this is another thing you can tell your printer to print an extra, you know, an extra label of. It's not gonna hurt. An extra page of, actually. We'll flip it. Put that one here. And so that's pretty much it. It's ready to be dropped off, picked up, however you prefer to have it done. Sometimes you can't really drop them off because if you have a hub that's very far away, you know, it can be kind of irritating to have to drive long distances just to drop off a package. But you can schedule pickups on Reptiles Express website, and you can have FedEx pick up your package between an allotted time that you've asked, you know, requested them to pick it up. So when it comes to temperatures, like I said on the Reptiles Express website, it is very convenient that it gives you your temperature for the next week or so, the hub's temperature for the next week or so, and then their destination hub for the next week or so. So you can kind of see what you're looking at as far as temperatures go. Personally, yes, during the summer and yes, during the winter, like when we have the extreme cold, extreme heat, definitely pay attention to the highs. But keep in mind, the snakes aren't shipping during the heat of the day usually. They're shipping overnight. And so I do pay slightly more attention to the lows, the low temperatures they're going to be experiencing. And that will usually dictate if I include heat or not. Or for whatever reason, if I have to include a cryo pack, which helps keep things cool, not cold. So I look at the lows. If I think, you know, I'll usually include a heat pack if the nighttime lows dip into, you know, if they're anywhere in like, depending on the species, if they're in like the low 60s to upper 50s or lower, definitely include a heat pack. You can buy those at any of the supply shops as well. You know, Reptiles Express sells them. Your shipper usually sells them. Whether you use Reptiles Express, Reptiles to You, Ship Your Reptiles, whatever. They almost always have heat packs or cold packs for sale. So what you want to do is just double check your temperatures. If you have any questions, you can call pretty much any of these companies and ask them what you should do, and they'll be able to tell you. I mean, they're going to know better than anybody else when it comes to shipping reptiles what you should or shouldn't include and what temperatures, because that's their job. So if you have even like a little shred of doubt, definitely ask and double check. I've found that the customer service at Reptiles Express is awesome. Customer service at Ship Your Reptiles is awesome when I use them as well. I prefer Reptiles Express because I find their prices are just incredibly hard to beat. So I highly recommend you check them out. Most shippers as well offer some sort of insurance. So say you do send out an animal, be it a snake, frogs, lizards, whatever. If it ends up being late, DOA, so dead on arrival, when you make the label for that shipment, you can include the option of having insurance to cover it in case anything happens to it. I've done that previously. I've been extremely fortunate to not have any issues or delays when I've shipped. I know that's not the case for a lot of people. A lot of people have had a lot of complaints about FedEx and that kind of thing, but I have yet to have an issue, you know, knock on wood. So if you think you want to include the insurance, I think it's like $250 per $100 value. So if you're sending out a $200 snake, you spend $5, you get $200 of insurance on the package. It's not a bad thing to include, and that's more or less up to you to include it, you know, whether or not you want to add it to a label. But yeah, I use Superior Shipping Supplies for my boxes and heat packs or cryo packs when I need them. I'll include a link in the description to them. Reptiles Express is who I ship through. I will not use anybody else now. Their prices are just, they're incredible compared to some of the other companies, and they're very much worth looking into if you're planning on shipping. I mean, that's about it. You'll get a tracking number when you create a label that you can send to the customer, and you can stay in the loop on where that package is and sort of what's happening with it. And then you can sign up for like a delivery confirmation if you want to. And again, that's something I usually don't do because I planned it with the customer ahead of time, whether or not they're going to be home, or like pick a day where they need to be, where they're going to be home and you know they're going to receive that package. The other thing is most breeders only ship Monday through Wednesday, and that I am one of those breeders, and that's something you should definitely do. If anyone tries to ship to you, you know, Thursday or Friday, stay away from it. It's the problem with shipping past Wednesday is the potential for there to be delays and your package to be stuck on a truck somewhere over the weekend. Obviously, it's summer, it's hot, especially here in the South. I'm sure it's brutal out west. I'm sure it's brutal most places right now, summer-wise, and we're not even in the middle of it yet. So, ship Monday through Wednesday, just to be on the safe side. Shipping over the weekend, I've heard too many horror stories. It's just not worth it. Just Monday through Wednesday, keep it simple. Save yourself the headache and the potential nightmares. I think that is it. I think I covered everything. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments, and I answer them fairly promptly. Follow me on Instagram, Facebook, at Palmetto Coast Exotics, Herpetoculture Magazine. Check it out. It's free digitally, herpetoculturemagazine.com, and see you later.